how to overcome a toxic workplace, and how to pick up on early signs or red flags of a job you should not accept, or if you've just started, you probably want to get out as soon as you can. So I'm asked many questions all the time across all of my social media platforms about how to overcome this and what to do if this arises and all these kind of questions, right? So I thought, well, why not just dedicate an entire video to questions and answers, and hopefully this adds loads of value and you can take this away and then go and make a decision, right? I'm gonna start with the questions and then I'm just gonna give you my raw opinion. So how to avoid or deal with workplace gossip. So for me, it's very simple. And I do find that we overcomplicate things and, oh, how should I, I don't want to get involved. That's exactly what it is. Don't get involved. It's called self-mastery. So I talk a lot about this, especially if you're trying to escape your job. Self-mastery basically means you are polite, you say hey, you say bye, you're nice to people, but you don't overstep that boundary. And I'm going to talk a lot about boundaries in this video because essentially that's the defining line between things going really wrong and becoming intertwined with people and co-workers and all these kind of problems, and having the boundary of keeping people at arm's length. Avoiding workplace gossip is super simple. You don't get involved and you have a neutral opinion on things. If someone says to you, hey, what do you think of so-and-so? Did you hear about what they did? Do not rise to it. Don't say, yeah, I'm not happy with that. Now you're involved. As soon as you have an opinion on it, you are involved, which requires you to apply self-mastery. So it's very simple. Do not get involved. Just control your emotions and what you say to people. As soon as you say something, you are then in the workplace gossip. Whether it was a negative thing or not, you're involved because you've said something. Okay, next question. How to block co-workers on social media who are already following me without causing tension or issues. I've answered this so many times, especially on my live streams. For me, I would just block them. Even if they were already following me, the person that I am, if they came to me the day after and went, have you blocked me on social media? I'd just go, yeah. That's because that's the person that I am. I don't care. I really don't care. So if they were butthurt by that, well, I'm not bothered. My question actually back to them would be, how did you know? Oh, well, were you looking for me? Because they would have had to search you to realize they can't see you. That's concerning. If you're in a place where someone would come up to you and you're worried, and you know that they would come up to you and you're worried about that happening, you know that they're looking for you. That's not good. Again, it's a boundary thing. But to answer the question, how to block co-workers on social media who are already following me. If you're worried about people coming up to you, you spread it out. You don't batch block, I suppose, is my answer. Block one person every other day or something like that. Spread it over a week or a month or whatever makes you feel comfortable. But ultimately, if you're worried about them coming up to you, they probably are going to do that. But you can counter and say, okay, I have blocked you because I just want to keep boundaries now with workplace and personal life. But how did you find out? Put it back on them, because that means they're searching for you, which is concerning. How to say no to outside social work gatherings. Again, coming from Aaron, I would just say, no, I'm not going. And Steve, my friend who might watch this, who I used to work with, he'll back that up as well, and he used to say the same thing. Do you want to go out for this? No. Oh, really? No. Yeah, I don't want to. And then they never ask you again, and then the boundary's been set. And some people go, God, he sounds like a right bore. No, I'm just good with boundaries, really. But how do you say no? Well, you can just politely say, look, again, you can just say, I like to keep my personal life and my professional life just separate. So thanks so much for the invite, but I'm going to pass on this occasion. Or if you did want to make something up and you feel that lying and making it up makes it easier for you, just say, look, oh, I'm really sorry, I have a pre-arrangement of doing something else. Also, my time off is really limited because I like to spend it with family or whatever it might be. Just get comfortable. I think as adults, as you get older, right, you just learn to say no more. I think we need to become comfortable saying no. Okay, next question. How can I set boundaries at work to balance my professional and personal life? It's in the title. Boundaries. Just making it very clear to everyone, your co-workers, that hey, really up for a chat here, love having a good time with all of you and making the day go quicker. No one wants to drag this out. But when I'm in work, I'm here to work and I'm here to get on with everyone, but I do enjoy keeping my personal life separate. And the earlier you can set that boundary and let people know that you are here purely to work, earn a living, and you really enjoy going home to your family because that's why you're in the workplace, the sooner everyone knows where they stand with you. That is how you gain the balance, It's very simple. That was in the title. You set the boundary as early as possible. This is a good one. How do I handle constructive criticism or negative feedback without taking it personally and affecting my day? Good question. I'm guilty of this when you have that criticism or constructive criticism, or you do have feedback, it can affect you a little bit because you think maybe you disagree. And I don't think there's anything wrong in challenging. If you really feel that you do disagree and that it was said to you wrongly and that it wasn't correct, of course, address it. But I think constructive criticism is a good thing, right? It can help you improve. But at the same time, I would be mindful whether it's true or whether it's not, and it's justified. If your gut tells you that, I am really good at my job and I don't feel that that really is correct, or my manager's pulled me in for a performance review chat or whatever, and I don't feel comfortable with it. There's also the dark side of all of this, is that maybe they're trying to manage you out. Maybe they feel threatened by you. So I feel that, yes, don't be affected by it. Let it go over your head. If it's genuine and it's meant to improve you and it's come from a good place and they're a good manager, or whoever's addressed it, and they're coming, they've got a warm heart and they're a nice person, take it on board. Don't get affected by it. You're not paid enough to worry. Take the advice on board and move on. But also at the same time, be aware, what are their intentions? Is it the beginning of something? So again, it's a bit of a mind game. You just need to identify the person giving you the constructive feedback or criticism. Are they a good person, and are they saying it because they really want you to improve and do really well and thrive in your job? Or is it the beginning of more of a malicious kind of plan that they've got? I'm not trying to sow a seed of negativity, but that is the workplace, and I'm sure some of you will agree with me. Now, what's the best way to communicate with a difficult boss or a manager who is making my working days stressful? Well, I think it's very clear. You need to go to the top. You go above that manager. I don't think there's any point in discussing with that person or that certain manager, because they're the ones causing the problem. It needs to be addressed. I would immediately document the problem. I would do times if there were any witnesses, and I would just start creating a bit of a document if that's happening. If they're making your day stressful, that means it's an impact on your mental health, it's taking its toll. I wouldn't try and communicate with that manager about it, especially if let's just play that scenario. You say, look, could I have a chat? It's an informal, it's not recorded. And they might start getting ahead of you, making other plans like, oh, this could cause me a problem, I'm going to try and get them out. Whereas, smile and wave, but raise it above and deal with it immediately, but start noting everything down. You need to cover yourself first. How can I address workplace bullying without making things worse for myself? It's a really tough one, because HR are corrupt and they will always work out whether it's easier to get rid of you 9 times out of 10 it is, or whether they deal with the manager and working out how deeply rooted the manager is with the other managers and stuff like this. It's a really tough one. I feel that if you're being bullied, what kind of culture is being set and what standards and values within that company. But if it hasn't been raised, you haven't given them the chance to deal with it. Again, document everything, times, dates, witnesses, what was said. There are strength in numbers. If someone's willing to back you, it's very unlikely because you can't trust coworkers. But if coworkers are willing to back you and say, yes, I heard it, or I heard her say that, or him say that, they can't contest with numbers. If you go to HR and there's 2-3 of you saying the same thing, singing the same song off the hymn sheet, they can't contest that. They have to deal with the manager essentially. But I think if you're being bullied, what kind of company are you working for if there's not a zero tolerance to that happening? What's their hiring process like? How do you deal with it without making things worse? You just have to go to the top and collect as much evidence and documentation as possible. That's the God's honest truth. What should I do if I feel trapped in a job I no longer enjoy but can't afford to leave? I talk about this all the time. I'm very entrepreneurial. I would say start a little side business. It's never been easier. Like, the average UK salary is £1,600 a month. Start a little side business. If you don't know how to do that, go into the description of this video, click free quit my job guide. Go get that, there's loads of information. If you sign up to my newsletter and drop me a message, I'll send you over a white document blueprint on how to escape your job and start a business. You can contact me, you can book a discovery call. Like, there's so many ways, there's so much information that you can learn and then apply just to replace your job. So that's my number one answer, and it always will be. Start your own business. It's not as scary and as daunting as you might think. If you can't afford to leave, you need to start looking at your personal finances. What are you doing with your money? Where is it going? What's your expenses like? What can you reduce? What direct debits can you cut down on? And you need to start getting some FU money, emergency funds, rainy day funds. You need to start making a plan and control the controllables. It's never been easier, to start a business generating more cash flow. And just think, you only have to replace your net income and your net expenses. That's it. So if you're earning £2,000 in a job, really, do you need to be spending £2,000? No, your expenses might be, what, £1,800? But when you cut out all the stuff you don't need, maybe it's £1,700 a month. That's the number that you need to replace. You can quite easily do that in a side business that you build over the next 6 months. I promise you, I'm not just saying that. That'd be my answer on that. How do I know or determine if the problem lies with me not enjoying my job anymore, or if it's them? I really hope everyone who asks these questions tunes into this video, by the way. That's a really good one. And I think this confusion of whether you're the problem or it's the workplace, I think that's because your self-esteem has been lowered and your confidence has been lowered, that you're questioning whether it's you or whether it's them. It's likely them. Because if you're that type of person that's even questioning whether you're the problem, it's probably not, because you sound maybe like you're quite empathetic and you're thinking with reason of like, oh, actually, am I the problem? You're probably not. You've probably been battered down for so long, your self-esteem is shot to bits, your confidence has gone out the window, and now you're questioning yourself. On the flip side, is not to say that you couldn't be a part of the problem, that you could be doing more or trying to make the situation better, but if you're feeling like that, it's probably due to a lack of confidence and you are questioning yourself, which is a very slippery slope to get into. So my answer is, I don't know how you fully determine it, because you've got to come up with the answer. I'm not going to give you the answer, I can't. But I would say it's likely on their part. And I would say that might be the first indication that maybe you want to start somewhere fresh. Clear head, clear space, clarity again, start somewhere new, get your head right, and begin a new journey or whatever. Okay, red flags during the interview period process or just starting in a job. So during the interview process, if they are overly concerned about outside interests and they ask you about your social media presence, this is a massive red flag and an absolute no-no. It'd be a deal breaker. If I went into a job interview, and I know a lot of companies do this now, unfortunately, and they asked me, okay, do you have any business interests outside of work? It's none of your business. And ultimately, what they're trying to do is they're trying to eliminate any entrepreneurs coming in who might learn about processes, systems, might gain a load of knowledge and then go start on their own. They're trying to eliminate competition before competition even begins. And the whole asking about your social media presence is none of their business. Like, when you are in work, you are there to fulfill the contractual role that you have agreed to. What you do outside of work is none of their damn business. It's not. Really frustrates me that I know that this is becoming more frequent in job interviews. That's a red flag for me. That'd be a deal breaker, personally for me. If you ask questions about staff turnover, they do not want to answer the question, or they are very vague in their answer. Again, massive red flag. You are able, by the way, to ask them questions. There's this confusion, and what I don't like about job interviews, quickly, is that you go in there and you have to forget about all your dreams. So when you're being asked questions, just think about this. You have to fit within a certain line and a box that they want you to fit within. You can't talk about how entrepreneurial you are, how creative you are, how you think outside the box and you've got loads of ideas and you have big ambitions to do this, that, and everything else. They want you to fit within these four walls, stay within the line, and just say that you can only do that one job and you're going to do it very well. They don't want to hear about you've got ambitions to grow, scale, develop, maybe start your own company, all this kind of stuff. And if you start asking them questions which you're entitled to, and you say, I just want to ask, what's the staff turnover like here? They think you're imposing, oh, you're asking a lot of questions, or you're not one of these, you're not going to influence people, you're not, you're going to be a troublemaker. That's what they see you as. I mean, it's nuts, really. But if they don't want to answer that question, not good. Next question. If their behaviour is unprofessional during the interview process, does this show signs of disorganisation and lack of professionalism? Yes, and also potentially no boundaries. If they're not professional in the interview process, what does that say about the company and the company's standards and the values, and also the hiring process further up management? So again, massive red flag, wouldn't get involved. If they mention the need to potentially cover other people because of hiring new staff or potentially day swapping, what are your thoughts? Yeah, if they're already talking about, when you haven't even got the job, that you might need to cover people and do day swaps, again, disorganisation, lack of professionalism, clearly no boundaries, not sticking with the contract that you agree to, run a mile. If co-workers begin adding you on social media when you start, it's a no-no. I talk about it all the time. I spoke about it earlier in the questions. Absolute no-no. If co-workers are arriving early and they're staying late without being paid, it's considered normal. Is this a massive no-no? You already know the answer. I had this at my old place. If a standard has been set, let's say you accept a job, right? And you want to go in, do your job, and then go home to your family, right? That's normal. That's what you should be allowed to do. But you're working now with people that go in early, half an hour, 45 minutes early. They're not being paid, and they're staying late and they're not being paid. It highlights you as the problem. That's a massive issue. I would not get involved. And then finally, if co-workers frequently meet up and invite you, but you have to decline, can this cause issues? Yes, because again, it's going to highlight you as the odd one out. Oh, they don't want to come out for the meeting. Oh, they're not coming to the co-worker's wedding. They don't want to go for drinky poos. What's wrong with them? Why do they think they're so special? You become the black sheep. You become the odd one out. You know, it's, again, I'm so glad I'm not in the workplace and I don't have to deal with this, because this is all child's play. Like, this is so immature, but this is the reality of the workplace, right? What I would say is, if you are trying to escape your 9-to-5 job, go into the description and get my free Quit Your Job guide, okay? Or you can book a discovery call with me. I've helped so many people escape their 9-to-5 jobs, and I really am on a mission to empower people to design your life rather than being assigned one, because this is just BS. Like, dealing with this is just BS, and people shouldn't have to deal with this like mental game of poker. In entrepreneurship, it's all about collaboration, growth, limitless. The more you help other people, the more you'll grow. Creativity, you know, it's so, well, it is limitless. Like, you know, the sky is the limit kind of thing. And it's never been easier to generate your own cash flow. We need to not see business as something that is incredibly risky, where you need a big, big bank loan and that it's all going to go horribly wrong and 90% of all businesses fail in the first 2 years. It's not. It's like 16% of businesses fail in the first 2 years, because it's been dramatically de-risked and mitigated, because you build the business whilst you're still working. So you float yourself financially. And when you work for yourself, you choose when you work, who you work with, where you work. You know, we're so lucky that we're able to build businesses on a phone and a laptop. And, you know, I'm sitting here at home filming this YouTube video as a part of my business. But, you know, I've been working here, just sipping on a cup of coffee and just doing my thing. You can too. Like, this isn't rocket science. Believe me, I was never good in school. So if you do want my help, by all means, you can go to the description in this video. But these are some of the common questions. I've answered them. Hopefully I've given you some answers and food for thought. But yeah, toxic workplace questions answered, red flags addressed, avoid them all, run the other way. Until next time, I'll see you all soon. Please do like and subscribe. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments and I will reply to you. And I'll see you on the next video.